playoffs are finally mathematically confirmed. Although, from what I did see of the game tonight, we weren't particularly good. So we need better performances in them, hopefully. I wasn't able to catch the full game tonight, but across the whole 90 minutes, I did manage to catch probably about 40 minutes of it. I did manage to catch maybe probably about half of the game, and from the bits I did see of the game, I think we looked a bit toothless, to be honest. I think going forward in particular, we didn't really offer much, if anything, really. The best chance I can remember from what I did see of it was in the second half when Mayenda manages to nudge his way past a couple of Norwich defenders. It might have been like Shane Duffy and Jack Stacey, I think. That's if they were playing. So I didn't check Norwich's lineup beforehand. But either way, when he managed to wiggle through them, got to the left side of the 6-yard box and fired at the side netting. So Angus Gunn really wasn't very troubled in the Norwich goal. But the main thing, there's a few things to sort of take away from this game. To be honest, I'm not going to complain at the point. And the reason I say that, I know, and before anyone gets their knickers in a twist saying, oh, that's negative, why are you setting for points? No. Obviously, I wanted to win the game. I want to win every single game of football. I want to win every game. I want Sunderland to win every game possible. What I mean by that is, when I saw the lineup and I saw Alexis was playing, I saw Job wasn't playing, obviously Mundo wasn't playing, we weren't starting the Fair, I thought, do you know what? And I know that a lot of people, I know that obviously Isidore, you could argue, needs a breather or needs to be dropped for a little bit. But to be honest, I think when I saw that lineup, I thought, you know what? I think a point wouldn't be the end of the world. And again, I'm not saying that that's a fantastic result in the history of Sunderland Football Club, obviously. But I think it's all, for me, I've said before, I think this section of games now is all about, if we can, try and build a steady run of form. Well, hopefully an unbeaten one, but we'll see whether that happens or not. Ahead of the playoff games, because we've known for a while that it's going to be playoffs. We've known that top two's out of reach, and despite some people trying to convince me in the last couple of days that top two could have still happened again, I was like, no, top two just simply isn't happening for a month of Sundays. There's just simply too much of a ground to make up on that regard. But look, as I said, obviously when we get into the playoffs, we need better performances, really. But I want to quickly sort of look a little bit, bring a little bit of perspective into this. And by the way, if we lose a handful of the last 5 games, then obviously this goes completely and utterly out of the window. But the point I would make is that in the season 2021-22, when Lord Voldemort took us up to the Championship, people forget that during that run, there were a lot of games that were quite a bit of a slog to get through. Oxford away was a slog. Gillingham for 95 minutes was a slog. Shrewsbury, we were good first 20 minutes, but then obviously for the last hour, to be honest, it was pretty much a slog. Plymouth was a slog from what I watched of that game. Rotherham at home was definitely a slog. Morecambe away wasn't a classic performance. But the point is, and even if you look at the wins against Fleetwood and Crewe in that run-in, where for 80 minutes we were dreadful, yet won both games. So I'm not saying I want Sunderland to play poorly, and that's not an excuse to play poorly. But I'm saying the main thing for me, as far as I'm concerned, is the fact that we're hopefully going to start to build a run together. And these last 3 games, for example, are why I've gone on about clean sheets so much, because I don't care if people are sick of it. I'm going to go on about it. It's my channel. But for me, that if you're not conceding goals, then it's a good platform to build on, and it builds confidence steadily. Again, I'd be very surprised if we didn't concede any goals in the last 5 games. And obviously going forward, we do need to be a bit better. I think at West Brom in particular, and from what my mate said, it sounded like, because he watched the whole game, from what my mate was saying, tonight was even worse in terms of ball retention. That's one thing we really do need to be better at. That a lot of the times the opposition, when they counter on us, is because we're stupidly giving the ball away in silly moments. And we can't keep using the team's young thing, because a lot of these guys have had enough games now to learn, don't try something that isn't on. But to be honest, I think the fact that Job was rested as an example is that I think it's Regis Le Bris trying to manage the squad. Whether you think that's right or wrong, that's up to you. Personally, for me, it was interesting to see Tommy Watson start. I've said before that for me personally, I think with Watson, I'm someone that would definitely use him because he's our player for the next 2 months. And if Brighton say, oh, well, we don't want him to get injured, well, I'm sorry, but sod it. Tough luck. You know, at the end of the day, he's our player for the last couple of months. You should have known that when you wanted to get the deal done now, that we were still in a situation where we're going to try and challenge for something. But I don't know how Watson played. I'm just making a general point. Look, I'm waffling on here, to be honest. I mean, I'm amazed I managed to get 4 minutes out of this, considering I didn't see much of the game. Look, at the end of the day, we've just got to let's just hope in the next 5 games that, first and foremost, that we mathematically secure a 4th. That's the next thing. And again, just hopefully continue to build a steady run of form. There's a long way to go yet, and obviously the playoffs are no team that we're going to come up against is a given. Whoever we come up against in the playoffs. But look, let's wait and see. Anyway, guys, I will love you and leave you. And one quick thing. There's a good chance you might not get a video on Saturday because on Thursday, me, my auntie, or tomorrow, if you're watching this on Wednesday morning, me, my auntie, and my youngest cousin are going away to Egypt for a week. We're going to have a nice holiday away. It's the first time we've been away together, obviously, since my uncle passed away. So that'll be nice to get away for a bit. I'm going to try and see if I can watch some of the game, but that depends entirely on what we're doing. It depends how successful I am of being able to watch much of the game. If I can watch much of the game, then I'll try my best to get a video out. But I'm warning you in advance now that there's a good chance that I won't be getting a video. So the next video you might see from me might be Bristol City. But anyway, I love you and leave you there, guys. And as you know, if you think you're watching the video and you're not a regular sub and you think I've earned it from you, I am trying to get to 6k. So all it does is it's absolutely free, takes a second, doesn't cost a penny. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share the video around, and respectfully comment below what you think. That'd be much appreciated. And yeah, step closer to the playoffs. We've got a chance of going up. Let's hope we do through the playoffs, obviously. How are the lads? Take care, everyone.